This is Radio Taiwan International. Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Friday, June 13th. "241 crew and passengers are dead, and the number of injuries and fatalities in the area is still unknown after the Air India Flight 171 crash." President Lai Ching-te visits a police anti-terror center and pledges full government support. And opposition leaders are urging an open dialogue ahead of the June 18th national security briefing. But first, today's top story. An Air India flight to London crashed into a residential area in Ahmedabad shortly after takeoff on Thursday, killing 241 people. The crash has also caused the injuries and deaths of an unknown number of people on the ground, including medical students in a college dormitory facility. All but one of the 12 crew members and 230 passengers on board the Boeing 787 Dreamliner have been reported dead. Miraculously, the sole survivor is not in critical condition and should be discharged from hospital care in the coming days. The India Civil Aviation Directorate General reported that Flight 171 sent a distress signal to the Air Traffic Control Center shortly after taking off, but information is limited to videos that captured the incident until the black box is recovered. Former Federal Aviation Administration Accident Investigation Director Jeff Guzzetti pointed out that the pilot may have mistakenly retracted the flaps instead of the landing gear, which violates the standard procedure of retracting the landing gear immediately after takeoff. He explained that open flaps will increase lift and shorten takeoff distance, and that it seemed the aircraft was unable to climb smoothly after leaving the runway. Aviation consulting firm R.W. Mann & Company Incorporated head Bob Mann said the Boeing 787 still seemed not to have had enough thrust even near the end of the 3,355-meter runway, which is long enough for the airplane to take off. He added that this could be because the aircraft's computer was set up incorrectly before takeoff, or the weight data entered into the computer system was not accurate, causing the system to misjudge the thrust required for takeoff. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board stated that it will send a team to India to assist in the investigation. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration also said it would provide technical support. President Lai Ching-te emphasized that Taiwan's police force plays a vital role in building societal resilience, helping the government mitigate the impact of natural disasters and other emergencies. With active training and preparation, he said, the nation can both instill public confidence and strengthen its capacity to meet evolving challenges. On Friday, President Lai visited the Taiwan Police Anti-Terrorism Training Center in Taoyuan's Xinwu district to observe a counter-terrorism drill. He thanked the special operations officers for performing under intense heat, noting that rigorous training is what proves most effective in moments of crisis. He underscored that the Special Operations Unit is one of Taiwan's elite forces, responsible not only for counterterrorism and high-risk criminal operations, but also for missions involving anti-violence, sabotage prevention, and responses to hijackings or maritime threats. Established in March 2017, the center is dedicated to bolstering Taiwan's homeland security and counterterrorism efforts. President Lai pledged full government backing for future upgrades, including a new shooting range, and stressed that construction must be completed on schedule and to the highest standards. He concluded by highlighting that realistic training environments are essential for public safety, national defense, and, above all, the protection of officers in the line of duty. President Lai Ching-te has invited opposition party leaders to a national security briefing scheduled for June 18th. KMT Chairperson Eric Chu and TPP Chairperson Huang Guozhang welcomed the invitation but emphasized the need for a two-way dialogue, one that is free of political preconceptions and not a one-sided presentation. The invitation follows President Lai's May 20th inauguration anniversary speech, during which he instructed his national security team to hold a formal briefing with opposition leaders. On June 12th, Presidential Office Secretary General Pan Min-an personally called the KMT and TPP leaders to extend the invitation. Speaking Friday, KMT Chair Chu said that the party supports cross-party dialogue on key national security issues, including defense, the economy, energy, technology, and public safety. He stressed that the meeting should be an open exchange of views, not a presidential monologue. TPP Chair Huang also expressed willingness to attend, saying his party is ready for an open discussion free of political agenda. However, he criticized the presidential office for failing to provide a clear discussion framework, calling the communication disorganized and lacking transparency. Huang added that if major national policies are to be discussed, the meeting should be live-streamed, with only classified matters handled behind closed doors. Health experts in Taiwan are urging the government to lower the age threshold for high-risk COVID-19 groups from 65 to 50, which would expand access to publicly funded antiviral treatments for those affected. Although Taiwan's overall COVID case growth has slowed, the number of severe cases and deaths continues to rise. Last week saw 166 new severe cases and 25 deaths, the highest weekly total so far this year. CDC spokesperson Lai Ching-te said Friday that 105 severe COVID-19 cases have been reported this year among 50 to 64-year-olds, with nearly 90% involving chronic conditions. He noted that this group already qualifies for publicly funded antivirals, suggesting existing policies are sufficient, even with increased hospitalizations among both the 50 to 64 and 65-plus age groups, signaling ongoing risk for older populations. Law emphasized that vaccines remain more effective than oral antivirals at preventing severe illness, but vaccination rates in the 50 to 64 age group remain low at just 8.9%. He urged renewed focus on boosting coverage and said the CDC will continue to review eligibility guidelines annually. Experts argue that the current high-risk definition, set at age 65, no longer reflects actual conditions. They recommend following international practice by lowering the threshold, allowing timely access to antivirals that could reduce hospitalizations and deaths. 2 Indonesian patients who underwent life-saving liver transplant procedures at National Taiwan University or NTU Hospital have returned to visit after 10 years of living healthily. In a Friday press conference, Sherlyn and David, both born with biliary atresia, spoke in support of Taiwan's medical strength and how they are thriving examples of Taiwan can help. Sherlyn came to Taiwan with her mother in 2014 after multiple referrals and evaluations following failed treatment in Malaysia. However, due to the rapid deterioration of her condition, she was transferred to the intensive care unit for 20 days, where she suffered from multiple organ failure. Under the care of the NTU medical team, her condition gradually stabilized and she was able to undergo a living liver transplant donated by her mother. Sherlyn's successful transplant story inspired David and his father, who took the initiative to contact NTU Hospital. The two underwent a similar successful transplant in 2016. Biliary atresia is a disorder in infants in which bile ducts are either blocked or malformed, causing bile to build up in the liver, damaging it, and potentially leading to scarring, cirrhosis, and liver failure. Since the establishment of its International Medical Center in 2005, NTU Hospital has actively promoted international medical services and humanitarian aid, assisting many critically ill patients to come to Taiwan for medical treatment. Starting in 2018, it also undertook the medical promotion of the Taiwan government's new southbound policy to deepen exchanges and cooperation with South and Southeast Asia. Sherlyn and David's successful treatments are proof of Taiwan's medical technology prowess and international trust. Sherlyn's story was also selected by the Foreign Ministry for the promotional short film My Second Home, which captures her journey seeking help in Taiwan. The film emphasizes Taiwan's medical soft power and humanitarian values and calls on the international community to support Taiwan's participation in the WHO and the World Health Assembly. While everyone has their favorite convenience store chain, few likely know the wide range of services available at Taiwan's chains, including item consignment, laundry delivery, and ride-calling services.
A customer comes into the convenience store and asks to send something frozen. The process is surprisingly simple. With a few quick taps on the user kiosk by the counter, she elects to keep her packages in a refrigerated temperature. After an easy payment, she deposits the item. These consignment services are available for a wide range of items at convenience stores, so long as they meet a few small requirements. At a minimum charge of 20 NT for up to 3 days, items can be stored at convenience stores to be sent or picked up at a later date by the original depositor or a designated person. Not all items can be sent, however, and stores have the right to refuse to store any items that are too delicate, contain live creatures, valuable ID documentation, 3C items, things outside of size requirements, and other things that may be difficult to otherwise preserve. Those who use the service appreciate the flexibility it gives them in their daily lives, with one customer saying he uses it to store refrigerated items when he's not sure he'll have the ability to keep them cold at work or with friends. Another woman says it saves her time when she decides to do her shopping on the way to work, saving her the trouble of venturing out of the house after a long day on the job. But this is just one of the many lesser-known services offered by Taiwan's convenience stores. In addition to item consignment and those that store refrigerated items, some chains provide self-service laundry delivery and the ability to order a taxi to the store. While not every store can offer every service, these are just a few lesser-known ways that make living in Taiwan so convenient. Amanda Stevens for ITI News.
Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Michelle Chang. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.